Hi, and welcome to Chapter 1. We're going to look at Objective 3 today, which is, I think, the most important concept that you take away from Chapter 1 and continue to use throughout the course. Chapter 1 to every textbook is just a big, broad overview, and so that's why you're going to see lots of different things which seem unconnected. Remember that our textbook is used for both microeconomics and macroeconomics. So in that respect, some of this applies a little bit more to you than it does to the other class in microeconomics. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this. I need to minimize the screen over there. I can't do that. Okay, I need to pull it over there. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let me share my screen with you and let's jump into it. Okay, so in this particular segment, what we're going to look at is this idea of opportunity cost. And again, we're going to run into this time and time and time again as we look at what happens in why people make decisions, the cost, the benefits, and all of these kinds of things. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so our second principle, the cost of something is what you give up to get it, right? So we're talking about the idea of trade-offs. And remember, people make decisions by comparing, see if I can get you to work. There you go, comparing the cost and the benefit. And we will want to always know that individuals will engage in an action as long as they believe the benefit of that action is greater than the cost of that action. And again, it happens at a particular point in time. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Opportunity costs are basically the highest alternative of the thing you don't do, okay? So you can put it a little bit easier and say whatever must be given up to obtain some item. And we're going to categorize that because if you think about everything has an opportunity cost, and that list could go into infinity. So we're going to just look at what is the next best alternative. So the next highest or the next best thing. And that's what we're going to focus on for looking at opportunity cost. I kind of want to use a thought problem here, and I'm going to bounce around a little bit in terms of opportunity cost. So the first question I have up here at the top, what could you be doing right now other than viewing this video? When I do this in class, I think this is the #1 answer for most students, eating, watching movies. So this list could be exhaustive, okay? So I'm going to put an infinity symbol because it could go on and on and on and on and on. But I want you to think of what is out of this list the best thing that you would pick, or if we stopped right now and said you're done, what would you go do? So that's the next best alternative, and that's the one that we want to focus on, is the next best alternative, and that is your opportunity cost. Okay, now, all right, so the one that has the highest benefit to you, and this is a kind of a key right now as of this moment, okay? So the highest value not taken, or what you give up to get something, all right? Now, there's two really important pieces to opportunity cost. First one, opportunity cost is contextual, meaning it will change looking back on time, okay? So it will change with maturity, it will change with education, experiences, backgrounds, cultures, all of these things. So context matters, okay? That's important. The second part of it is it happens in the moment, or it happens in the now, okay? Now, what's interesting is when I asked you what else could you be doing other than viewing this video, really, that is an opportunity cost that happened in the past because you're viewing the video right now, okay? So that opportunity cost happened previously. So let's talk about that just a little bit further and make sure you understand it. The first one is context. Context changes. So let's say that you haven't slept in, really good REM sleep. Maybe you have a new baby at home or what have you, and you haven't slept in 3 days. And you have now the opportunity to sleep for the next, maybe you're going to study today an hour and a half, okay? You get really good super REM, that deep, good, refreshing sleep for an hour and a half. I dare say, because I've changed up the context, that you haven't slept in 3 days. Now maybe sleep has a greater value to you. Now notice when I'm talking about value, I'm talking not about monetary value. I'm talking about intrinsic value or personal value. So context does matter. The second thing that matters is the timing of opportunity cost. And this one's sometimes difficult for students to understand. It happens in the now. Just as I said, when I asked you what the opportunity cost is of viewing this, that already happened. Once you make the decision and you use, okay, so let me kind of explain this a little better. So you have a decision to make. You can either choose A or you can choose B, all right? Once you make the choice, and you're going to make the choice based upon which is more beneficial to you at this point in time. So whichever one gives you the greater benefit, that's the one you're going to choose. So let's say A gives you the greatest benefit. So you choose A. There is no longer an opportunity cost here because you've made the decision. This decision that you made becomes what we call a sunk cost because you've already made that particular decision. Okay? So when we look at this, opportunity cost happens in the now. I like to use a problem with classes and I say, okay, imagine that you're going to a concert, okay? And you've purchased the tickets for the concert. You get to the concert and there's no cell phone service and you don't have paper tickets with you. You don't have a copy of it. You have nothing. So you go, okay, and you find somebody that says, hey, I'll send you another ticket to the concert for $30. So let's say in this case that, and I'm going to return to the slide so we can kind of talk it out here. So in this example, let's say you originally paid in, let's put some dates with this. Stop it. You originally paid $50 for the concert ticket and you paid that in June. Okay. Now you're at the concert, you realize you forgot the ticket and you have somebody willing to sell you a ticket for $30. And then on the concert, at the concert. Okay, so a good problem here is what's the opportunity cost of attending the concert? Now, here's where it gets interesting. You do not add these together. It is not 80. 80 is incorrect because you already made the decision to buy the ticket in June. So June becomes a sunk cost. So the right answer is the $30 of attending the concert. Okay? Now, again, we use this idea of what's the cost versus what's the benefit. So again, all those things that we listed, these were the cost and the benefit. And for you, because in the moment you decided I'm going to study. Now, here's a question, why? Why did you decide to study? Now, most people will say, well, I decided to study because I know that if I study enough, I'll get a good grade. If I get enough good grades, I'll get a degree. If I get enough degrees or I get enough, all these courses put together, I'll get a degree and then I get the job I want. So it's kind of interesting that really long-term benefits that you see are driving your behaviors today. Okay, so kind of looking back at this, we go, okay, you decided because the long-term benefit, come on, baby. Oops, stop. You decided because a very long-term benefit is actually driving your behavior to study today. Now, what also is interesting about this is, the whole idea of I'm going to end up with greater monetary rewards or a higher standard of living. What if within the course of your study, you found out that your major was now going to be replaced by a robot or something, right? We hear that all the time. What would you do? Now this long-term benefit is no longer leading to the goal. There's a whole theory and motivation that we talk about. Why do people engage in behaviors? And it's because they have an unmet need. I dare say the unmet need why people study is because they want a higher standard of living than they currently have. They want more money. Okay? So again, benefits might change. That's the context of the idea, but it happens in the now. Once you make the decision to study, these are no longer costs, but they are sunk costs, which do not enter into your decision making hence thereafter. Okay, now again, it could be explicit. When we use the term explicit in this course, what we mean is there's a monetary value attached to it, or it could be implicit, where it's just maybe happiness or good feelings, or a lot of people get motivated because accomplishing small tasks allows them to feel some intrinsic motivation, some happy feelings, some satisfaction from accomplishment. We do know in behavioral economics, we study different types of needs. And if you look at McClelland's 3 needs theory, they would say some people have a high power need. Okay, they seek power. Some people have a high achievement need. By the way, most students are in that category. And some people have a high affiliation need. And those are people that like to be around other people. Okay, so it's funny because looking at this back when I studied it, we would call these people the eagles, call these people the beavers, and call these people the bunnies. Okay, so the need that we're fulfilling is actually implicit in order to achieve one or more, because you can have more than one dominant need, one of these objectives. Okay, so that does it for opportunity cost. And what I'd like you to do is between now and the next time you sit down for the next objective, and really throughout the course, think about the opportunity cost of everything that you're doing. And this is how economists think. We think about, well, what's the cost? What's the cost? And again, does not have to be monetary. It could also be implicit. Many times those are much stronger drivers of behavior, those implicit intrinsic needs that individuals have. Until next time, thank you.